Hi everyone, Lara here. I'm just at the yard and I was just going to do a quick video on mucking out deep litter using shavings. So we use these shavings over here. They're Snowflake and they're the standard wood shavings, and it's like a premium and soft chip blend. We tried the cheaper version, which is just soft chip, and it honestly was terrible. We've had the premium shavings before as well, and they were brilliant, but they're quite pricey per bale. So we thought we'd give these middle ones a go, and so far so good. So we'll give it a few more weeks before I give my final verdict. If these are no good, we'll probably either go back to the premium Snowflake or horse scents shavings, because they're quite good as well. I got some of those from Mole and they seem to work really well. So this is Roxy's bed. I've just mucked out, and as you can see, it looks nice. So with a bed like this, I would use my shavings fork, and I would just literally pick up the poo, and then you want to shake it until you have no shavings, just poo. And then I don't use a wheelbarrow, because if I use a wheelbarrow I get too shavings happy. So I use this bucket, because then I know I'm going to have to carry it afterwards, so it makes me be more careful about what I'm picking up. So I make sure I get as little, sorry, it's going to move because rubbish light there, shavings as possible, and take out all the poo. I don't take out any wet at all. Now, you do not want to disturb the base. You need to, your base is sacred. You need to leave the base as intact as you can. And I also don't really disturb my banks on a daily basis. If one's collapsed a bit, luckily Roxy doesn't tend to do that. She digs a bit in the middle, and she's quite messy usually, but she doesn't tend to wreck her banks, so we tend to just leave them intact. And then once a week I will pull down the banks, because that's where I keep the fresh shavings, and we pull down the banks and cover that over with fresh. And I usually do that, say, on a Wednesday. So then she'll have like and then I would leave her with like a really small bank along the back, like enough to stop her getting cast, but not like a big bank. And then on Thursday, which is today, I would put in the new bale, which is what I've just done. And then so along the back is all fresh shavings in that bank, and especially in the corners is a lot of fresh shavings. And then I just do a covering over the whole thing to keep it dry on the top. And then luckily Roxy will usually do most of her poo and wee sort of in the middle here, so I'll clean this out, and this bit will still be quite fresh, so I can then sweep some of the back shavings over the top of the wet on here. So as long as you make sure that the top is always dry, you don't need to worry about leaving the wet in the bottom. And so yeah, and that's how I deep litter on shavings, and it works really well for Roxy, and she loves having a lovely big bed, which I just couldn't afford to do if I was taking out all the wet every single day. So this works out really affordable and also really comfortable, and she's really happy having it done like this. We've been doing this for about 6 months now, and she much prefers it than having a small bed where I was taking the wet out every day, and it was leaving her with like a really small bed, because I just couldn't have put this much shavings in to like every week. I mean, there's like 12 bales worth of shavings in here, and you just can't maintain that on fresh. You'd be like 3 bales a week if you're taking the wet out, especially with mares. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this little video, and I'll see you soon. Bye.